Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayr podcast. We are on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And if you're listening to us on iTunes right now, go ahead and leave a 5-star review. I appreciate all the reviews so much. Shout out to our sponsor, Cushy Dreams. They're my go-to for all things CBD related. If you are sick of vapes and gummies and want to smoke your CBD, Cushy Dreams is the place to go. They specialize in bud and pre-rolls. I really like the pre-rolls. They come in this nifty little 5-pack, very portable. Throw them in your purse, throw them in your pocket. It's really helped me with my anxiety big time over the last year and a half. And I think it will help you too. There's different indica sativa blends like relax, hustle, create, energy. So if you want to be a little bit more up, a little bit more relaxed before bed, just go to cushydreams.com. That's KUSHY dreams.com. And best of all, it's grown right here in the USA. Ships to you anywhere in the 50 states. Legal. It's the best stuff. I'm a big fan of their products. Also, I want to shout out some of my upcoming stand-up dates. I'm going to be actually opening for Doug Stanhope in Connecticut, September 4th. I think it's the Foxwoods Theater out in Connecticut there. And then I will be joining the Comedians of the Compound out in Las Vegas, September 10th and 11th. There are definitely some tickets available for those shows. Then I'll be going back to Texas to headline Hyenas in Dallas, September 17th and 18th. Then I will be in Lakewood, New Jersey with Comedians of the Compound, October 16th. I think that's the Blue Claws Stadium. And then I'll be heading to California. Woo! We're going to see what that's like. That's going to be fun. I'll be doing 4 shows at the Broadway Comedy Club West out there in Santa Monica, October 22nd and 23rd. And I'll be joined by Bridget Fetisi and Sam Tripoli. So those shows are going to be super fun. Let's just hope they don't mandate the vaccine. We'll get into it. We'll talk about all that good stuff. I'm so excited to have this guy on the podcast today. He's pretty legendary, not only in the artist community, but also kind of in the patriot activist community that I have now found myself in over the last couple of years. He's been featured on Fox's Ingram Angle, NBC Nightly News, Fox and Friends. He was named Person of the Week on ABC's World News Tonight. He's a pretty legendary flag muralist, and he's been doing it for 25, 30 years or so. We're gonna talk all about that stuff. Scott LoBaido, how are you? Good to have you on the show.
I'm not as happy about being on the show as I am happy to find out that you have come to see the light after the last few years as an entertainer. Welcome.
Yes.
Welcome.
Yes. Yeah. There's very few people that I can talk to about. I mean, I wasn't always this way, but definitely the last few years, it's real hard to be any kind of a conservative or even non-left leaning artist in the liberal cesspool that is New York City.
Yeah. And it's, I'm an artist in New York City, and I saw this 25, 30 years ago, how intolerant, how hypocritical, how double standard, how much of the art community, the music community, the acting community is can I curse on this show?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Try not to, but okay.
Yeah.
I'll try not to.
I mean, who am I to stifle creativeness? Yeah.
And it would just disgusted me as a creative person. It disgusted me. And I wanted to be no part of it.
This is like, before woke culture.
This is way before this. This started back in the 90s when I went out to find myself in the big city, New York City, as an artist, to find out where I'm going to fit in. And I just saw like the disdain and hatred towards our flag, our military, and everything America. And you're going to understand this now because you're part of this new movement, whatever you want to call it, is that we as creative people, we have more rights than anybody in this country because we get to test the boundaries of their First Amendment more than anybody. And when I saw the creative community pissing on and biting the hand that feeds us that special right, I lost my effing mind. And I said, at that moment, I don't want any part of this. I don't care how rich or famous that this club, this elitist club, is going to make me. And I said, I'm not succumbing to the isms of their elitist agenda. They're not tolerant. You know, they're not tolerant. You have to abide by their rules. Art has no fucking rules. But these people that run it make rules. So I said, screw you, I'm going my own way. And I struggled, and here I am, happy, very happy.
I talk to a lot of other comedians, sometimes, you know, people in the adult film industry, creative people nonetheless, but you're probably the first like fine artist I've ever had on the show. And for anyone who's ever been to New York City or went like back in its heyday, the art culture in the city is like, I mean, unless you really know the ins and the outs, it's mostly like it's the Met, it's the MoMA, it's like there's such a degree like snootiness and art culture, I feel like go hand in hand. And it's like, oh, you can only appreciate it on this elite, like academic, intellectual. And I loved art. I was gonna major in art in college, and I just had like bad experience with a professor. But I remember I was in art history, and I loved art growing up. It was my favorite subject in high school. I was obsessed, had a crush on my art teacher, everything. And I honestly found like the process of kind of just learning about art history and the professor that I had like really steered me away from it, because they were just sort of like, well, you're trash unless you read the New York Times every day. And it was really that kind of elitist art culture that ultimately kind of turned me off of pursuing it.
Yeah,
So I can't imagine how you feel doing
I love art as well. I mean, I flirted with the Mona Lisa face to face at the Louvre dans Paris. I gazed in awe at the Sistine Chapel. I shouldn't have done it, but I had no choice. I'm an artist. I got to touch the painful brushstrokes of a Van Gogh. Just a touch, and it just wows you.
And you came instantly. No, I'm just kidding.
And to know, you know, that it's his art, and I still love the Met. I love the old masters, and I love art. I really do, and I'm not judgmental towards art. But it's ironic that they're judgmental towards me because I do not pronounce my R's properly. Okay, I'm a regular fucking guy from Staten Island, New York. I like NASCAR. Okay, I'm a supporter of the NRA. I vote Republican, and so right off the bat, I'm nobody. They threw me under the bus like the redheaded stepchild, you know, and I'm glad they did, because I succeeded without them. I have a huge fan base. Hey, look, I'm not Picasso. I'm not Michelangelo. I'm not a great artist, but what makes me, I think, makes me a great artist is not the execution of my work, not my brushstrokes, you know, but that I am so true to who I am, that I did not succumb to the isms of that elitist club where, well, we'll make you, we'll turn you, we'll make you the star. Nobody's making me shit. You ain't making me nothing. I paint and say whatever I want, and that is what makes a great artist, to answer to nobody.
Scott, did you ever have to deal with, you know, conflicting politics of the art world? Like, yeah, you're conservative, you're not a progressive, you're not a liberal. Did that ever keep your work out of certain galleries? Did the politics ever, you know, ultimately, you know, how ingrained is like, you know, having work at a gallery with your politics and who you are and who you know?
I think I've had about 500 art shows, and I think 2 of them were at an actual gallery. Because they don't want me. They know me, but they don't want me because I don't fit that mold. There's a little bit of fear that they have because I am outside the box. You know, I did what they told me to do, is color outside the box. And they didn't like how much I colored outside the box. So I've always had my shows on my own. I would rent the space. A lot of shows in Manhattan. I would just rent my own space and have this big opening. And it was always fully, I always had a great turnout and stuff, and I never had to answer to anybody. You know, again, I'm happy that they don't like me. It proves the point that makes me a real artist. Again, it's not my work. I'm not Michelangelo, but it just proves the point that they fear me because I am the real artist. Because everyone is a, excuse me, you know, nowadays everything is the quick fix, the quick reward. Nobody wants to struggle. You know, it's like somebody will say, Hunter Biden's an artist now. This week, Hunter
Oh
Biden
God! Oh
is an
God!
artist,
I was going to ask you about
and he's going to
that.
get $500,000 for a painting. This is what they are, and I'm ecstatic that I am not part of that. I brought, the art world shunned the hand, bit the hand that feeds them, because the NRA, NEA, National Endowment for the Arts, is publicly funded. And it's funny when you could take this money and then bite the hand that feeds you by desecrating the flag, Christianity unconstitutionally with public funds. That's a story we'll get into later on. And it made the American people that their money has to go to that. It made them sick, because it was all about pissing on those people who funded these people. And then I came around. I wouldn't take a dime from the NEA, not a dime from the NEA, not one dime. I don't want it, even if they offered it to me. And people saw that and they said, wait a minute, this guy's bringing art back to us working people who aren't normally into art. Whether it's the flag or just something emotionally patriotic, or even something off color that's not, in their face saying, haha, F you, thanks for the money. So I became this kind of a beacon to these people who would not normally. I am the artist for regular people. I'm not an uptown hoity-toity. My art isn't for the uptown hoity-toity folk. It's not. I don't want it to be. I found my niche.
Yeah, it's messy, it's raw, it's beautiful. I mean, like, your work is incredible. Like, I was just looking at your website and I was like, damn, I'm gonna have to get a piece, save up and get a piece. I don't know, not that when you first started getting attention, was that when you started doing like the murals across the country? Was it called 50 Murals Across America, or where you were just painting flags across the country?
That did bring me a lot of attention, but before that, it was back in the 90s when I went to go find myself as an artist. And that's where I found my calling, which was, wait a minute, these artists are desecrating on the beautiful, great work of art, which I consider the American flag. We'll get to that. Biting that hand that feeds them. And I said, wait a minute, no. This is my calling. I am going to use my talent, my paint and brush, to bring that flag back to life, and to show what is great about that flag, meaning our country. And it was like pulling teeth, but it was the sexiest thing in the world to know that I found my calling. And 20-something years later, I'm now that guy, that patriotic flag guy. I found this movement. It's nice that after the last few years, after Trump got elected and patriotism blossomed, that so many artists popped out of the woodwork and painting flags, and it's all good and well, but I got to pop my bubble, man. I was there from the beginning when political correctness popped its ugly head up back in the 90s, and I started fighting that. And I spent a lot of nights in central booking, in jail, getting arrested, fighting, protesting, using my art, pro-American, which is very rare. I was the one guy in this city. There's 1 million activists in this city, and they were all on one side. And I was this guy who popped up, and I said, no. I don't know how to explain it verbally, but I'm going to use my artwork to warn people that this little thing that came out of the ground with these little teeth was going to turn into the fucking Godzilla of political correctness that is going to devour our country. And here we are. Was there
a particular moment for you, Scott, that you saw during the 90s that it was like a particular like group or someone desecrating the flag that like early on inspired you to pursue this work?
Again, it's funny because you have these young white 19, 20, 22-year-olds who are pretty much in charge of the anarchy in this fucking country, infiltrating BLM. And I'm disappointed at my black friends in the community who let them infiltrate like they're doing everything to push their agenda that, we all know about that. But I get off point. What was my point?
Okay. Was there a particular moment, like one particular moment where someone either desecrated the flag or something that inspired you early on? Like
Okay. So my point was that when I was 19 and 20 years old, I didn't know shit about anything like these young kids think they know. Okay. I was getting drunk with my buddies, doing some painting, partying, chasing girls. I didn't know about anything else. That's what we're supposed to do in our 20s, most of us.
Yeah,
And
live
then
life.
you learn. But these kids don't even get, they missed that whole thing. And that's a big
Sad.
problem.
Yeah.
You know, you miss meeting or flirting with a girl in a bar and smelling her perfume physically, you know, without being on this thing, you know, just any communication, whether it's business and that all got lost. So again, once I was looking for my art career in the city to see where I would go with this, I don't know what it was, but I just remember there was welcome mats in these galleries that were the American flag, where you would have to wipe your feet to walk into these galleries. And there was just this whole movement, and I saw it. And, you know, I'll give you one quick example of many, many, many. My first arrest was in '99. You're familiar with the Brooklyn Museum?
Yes.
Okay, it's, I think, the second or third largest museum in America. And it is a publicly funded institute. And if you remember back in the 90s, 1999, actually, they had this exhibit called Sensation. And that's when they had this artist have displayed this painting of the Virgin Mary using elephant shit and female genitalia cut out of porn magazines that were plastered all over.
Oh my gosh.
And it was a big to do.
Wow.
And I was the only artist that stepped up to fight against the museum. And I got arrested for that. And the moral of the story is that was my first real, you know, activist moment in the public eye. And people said, Scott, do not do that. You are going to screw up your art career. And I said, I don't care, because this is wrong. This is unconstitutional. I have no issue with the artist. If that artist had that piece of artwork of the Virgin Mary, as ugly as it was, in a private gallery, and there's 9 million of them in New York City, I would have been fighting for the artist's right if they wanted to remove it. But it was a publicly funded institute, taxpayers' money. It's a separation of church and state issue. The same people that run that gallery cry bloody murder when a nativity scene is on publicly funded property. So therefore, they had a bad habit of annually desecrating Christianity, no other religion, on a regular basis. You cannot promote a single religion on publicly funded property. Therefore, you should not be able to degrade a single religion. And I went up against them, and that's what kicked this whole passionate thing off. I said, this is good. I sat in that jail cell, and I knew my mother was going to be pissed. I knew my art career was washed down the drain, but I sat there like the toughest guy in the world, in my heart and my soul, because I knew I did the right thing for the people in my community.
It felt good. You knew you were justified, and you were standing up for what's right. And then you got a lot of attention. I think this is why you appeared on the Ingram Angle. A BLM protester vandalized your Blue Line tribute to the police. It was, I think, after the Black Lives Matter street painting was done. By the way, like without, you know, any kind of approval, but you just painted like a thin blue line, like away from it, you know, and exactly who you're describing, like a 20-something-year-old white Marxist liberal tip, you know, it's like exactly the person everyone's imagining right now as I describe her.
It's what it is.
You know, spray painted across it, and then there was like a clip of an interview of somebody doing like Man on the Street with her, and then she was like, "Oh, I was offended," and you're like, this had absolutely nothing to do with you, and it's like you're making it about you, because exactly what you said, you've missed out on your childhood, on enjoying your early adulthood. Like it's like you can live your life and have a good time and not make things about you that have nothing to do with you. And I think that probably was another event that put you on the map more so.
Yeah, there's been hundreds of them, and it's every. I'm in the middle of my documentary, finally, about how I became and what I've done and stuff. Because again, there's a million documentaries about activist artists out there, but there ain't none about a conservative activist artist, you know. And I think it's very interesting. But yeah, it was, you know, again, they don't get the story. The liberal media, even my hometown paper, threw me under the bus.
In Staten Island?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Oh yeah. Because they saw it as, you know, I'm an artist, and I like art, even if I don't agree with it. And even if I don't agree with some of the Black Lives, you know, the BLM movement, I obviously I'm very liberal when it comes to equality, you know, gay rights and women's rights and the Black community and so on. But they put this artwork down. I saw it as street art, and I actually thought it was pretty cool. It was a cool concept. And I know there was a lot of, kind of stick it to the man kind of thing in there. But again, it's art. Art is to provoke emotion.
Right.
So I realized that the mayor, whose this project was, he didn't have a permit to do this. Okay. So I come from Staten Island, where most of the New York City Police Department and Fire Department come from. And I have a lot of police people in my family and so many friends. And it just breaks my heart to see, I've been supporting them for decades, but to see the humiliation that they received, the breakage of their souls. So I said, I'm painting a blue line. And I painted this blue line 1,000 feet right across this, not near the BLM where the mural was.
Yeah, you didn't paint it
This was my
across
artwork.
it. You didn't, you did your own
It had
thing.
nothing to do with them. It was just about what that blue line represents. It represents those who made the sacrifice for us. That's it. And all hell broke loose. The little punks came out and desecrated it. I repainted it. And the mayor sent me a letter the next day. Cease and desist, or you will be jailed, fined, And I went on, it was a big story. So I got my lawyer and I went right on. I said, here's the letter. Mr. Mayor, you could stick this letter where the sun don't shine. You show me your permit, and then I'll abide by your rules.
Mm-hmm.
And the day after that, he pulled his pants down and he said, I do not have a permit.
Wow.
So the blue line still stays there.
Good for you. Were you, like, it doesn't seem like you're nervous anytime this happens. It seems like, I don't know, I guess I'm starting to be like this type of person now where every 6 months I'm like in the news for something and it's like, well, it's part of the fight. You're doing what you think is right. At any point, have you ever felt like nervous or scared, or was there something that you did or any statements that you made that you're like, oh, I mean, you've been arrested and it seemed like it wasn't a big deal, but have you been scared?
Actually, it's funny you mention that. I know it's hard to see, but I got a couple of stitches here.
Ooh, bad boy.
I had an altercation the other evening when I was outside one of my establishments waiting for my pizza to bring home, having a cigarette, and this guy and his wife girlfriend or whatever, came screaming around the corner. You're a racist. You are an effing racist. Trump lost. You get over it. Like losing his shit.
They recognized you?
Oh, he knew it was me. He came, he was looking for me. And I get it a lot. And he just came at me and I said, dude, you're talking to the wrong guy with that word racist. And he kept going. And so I called him a word. Nothing bad, but I just said, you, whatever. Sure. And he lost his mind and came charging at me rabidly. And he got right to me. And I don't know if he's got a knife or a gun. So I gave him a southpaw. And he pulled me when he went down, and my head cracked on the sidewalk and rolled around and
just
blah, blah, blah.
Jesus.
So this stuff happens. I get this. People attack my car and stuff, but I have no fear because I know I'm right. And again, I am a provocative individual. Art is to provoke emotion. Sometimes, if you know my work, it's very moving, emotional, like this 9/11 sculpture I'm working on now. And sometimes I provoke emotion. I'll put up a giant Trump billboard and drive it through the streets of Manhattan to provoke emotion. But I never push violence. I'm never aggressive. I'm not that tough guy where I'm just going to fight somebody. But hell, if somebody comes at me physically, my father's advice was take shit from nobody. And so I have no fear because I'm a righteous person, not narcissistically, just that I'm fighting, and I have been fighting to save this country for 30 years. I've been warning people like Paul Revere about the dangers of this political correct cancer culture insanity. And people used to laugh at me. Oh, look at Scott. He's on the front page getting arrested in handcuffs. He's crazy. I was trying to warn them. So here we are. So again, I did not have the cojones to join the military, and that's why I do so much for my military, because what they have done for my freedom. So I fight my battle here on land in America, not using a gun and a bayonet, but I use my paint and brush. And that's what I've become. And I will do that to the day I die.
Yeah. And it's your work is so moving, and it makes people think, and it's like, yeah, you're not shoving anything down anybody's throats. It's like, yeah, this is the work I do. Be inspired by it, make you think, or see the blue line painting. It's I think, similar to comedy, it's another way to get through to people, because very few like to be, told that they're wrong or preached to. It's like, well, if you can be moved by a painting or laugh at a joke, that's another way to like soften someone up to possibly, get through and change their mind. Um, and I saw you, and that's why I wanted to have you on the podcast. I saw you at the medical tyranny rally in New York City. I think it was the 9th, just a couple weeks ago. And I was like moved by your speech. I was like, who is this guy? I must have him. He's great. So I want to know, what are your thoughts? I'm sure you're going to say I saw this all coming, but thoughts on the incoming mandates for the city?
Before I get to that, you're a comedian, and it's very important, and I got a big fan base on my Instagram and TikTok. I'm 56 years old. I got 150,000 young fans on TikTok, which is beautiful, because that means that young people are listening to my message, and that makes me feel good. They're catching on. A lot of them are catching on, these millennials, and I feel really good about that. But back to comedy. Again, I'm 56 years old, and I used to run this bar in the North Shore of Staten Island called the Cargo Cafe. And I was always a conservative and an artist. And I made this really eccentric place. And this is back in the 90s, early 90s. And the place everybody was allowed in there. We had transgenders before they were even accepted anywhere. Gays, Jews, Muslims, Black. I was the token Guinea, the token Italian guy. My buddy was the token Jew. He was the token Black guy. And back to comedy. Okay. We all got along. We made fun of each other all day, all night, and we loved each other.
Because it's acceptance.
We had so
That's
much
what
fun.
it is. Yeah.
And then the politically correct beast just came in and said, you can't say that. You can't do this. You can't. And look where we are. Forget about the political aspect of this. It's this social acceptance, this oversensitivity thing. It's insane that people and comedian Jerry Seinfeld, the cleanest comedian in the history of comedy, he can't do a bit in a college because people are offended by Jerry Seinfeld. It's insanity.
Who's like the least offensive comedian? It's like him and Brian Regan are like
I
the
love
least offensive.
being made fun of. Look, look, every Italian in every movie is either flipping pizza or in the mafia. So am I offended by that? Not whatsoever. Not whatsoever. I understand what it is. It's humor. It's entertainment. I'm not offended, and everybody's offended by everything. So for me, it's tough. But for you as a comedian, the way you are now, I know you're like me. I'm still a very liberal person. Very liberal. I just know, I'm a realist.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's got to be tough for you too, because you can't go do a set and then bring out like, no vaccines or whatever it is, and you get shit kicked out of you.
It's like, yeah, similar in that I'm the same person. Like for 6 years, I ran a comedy show at the Stonewall Inn, which is a gay landmark in the city and also nationally. And then I got a show on Compound Media, which is a little bit more of like free speech, and like some of the people on there are a little bit more right leaning, but it's really like, it's a comedy network. But once I went from hosting that show at the gay bar to Compound Media, I got a lot of shit, a lot of people not acting like they didn't know who I was anymore. And it's like, I was like, I'm the same person. My sense of humor is the same. I still like love gay people. And I hate that I even have to say that.
Right. It's gross.
Just that, like, I'm on a network and they're giving me a show. Like, oh, I'd be stupid to not take that, and not make money from my art. So it's like, it's really sad, but then it's the moments like that show you who your real supporters and friends and fans are. And the people that I've met through this movement are more meaningful and people that I will know my whole life. And I can't say that for the comedy community. It's like, ultimately, probably as you have seen about the fine art community, like they're out for themselves.
Tell me how much better you sleep at night after the last couple of years. Before you were, when you were on the cusp at one point. Like, what do I do? What do I do? I can't. My career, I got this and that. And then once you come into that light, because everybody's like, Scott, you must be out of your mind. What's happening? And yet I said, no, I sleep like a baby because I was warning you. I knew this was coming. I did my part. I spent my nights every day in the streets, my artwork, spending my own money with rallies. I did my part. It's your turn now.
What's the point of having a voice, having a talent, having a platform if you're not going to stand for something? Like then you strictly are just doing it for, I mean, a lot of artists, a lot of comics do it for validation. I'd be lying if I didn't say that part of it was like validation to like maybe cover the wounds of my youth or whatever, my daddy issues. But like, I think an even larger part of it is standing up for what's right and exactly for this country. And if you can get in there any way you can through art, through comedy, and I have met some really wonderful people, and like I'd rather go down fighting, which is when I heard about these mandates in the city, I was like, oh yeah, this is my hill to die on. Like I made a public tweet. I said that I'm not going to perform at any club in the city that requires a vaccine passport. I think these mandates are insane. It's like it absolutely is segregation. It's really wild. And I ask everybody I meet, like, what do you think? Do you think they'll hold up? Do you think they'll fall through? And I seem to be meeting more and more people who are like, yeah, we're sick of it. People are over it. People have done the 2 weeks, the year. And there's just a lot of people are realizing no amount of obeying or being on good behavior will make a difference.
I'm gonna be tough here. I'm gonna give some tough love, which I learned to do because I believe that I have a right to give tough love to the people that are with us, mentally and socially, patriotically, and everything. And I've been doing it a lot lately, again, because I did put my time in. I did start this movement. I was one of the people who started this patriotic, pro-American, fighting the shit that's coming. And I look at France, I look at Australia, and I see millions of people in the street fighting for the same thing we are. But this is America. This is the freest land there is. And there's nobody in the street. There's a handful over here. There's a handful over there. Well, I'm working. Well, I'm on vacation. Well, I have kids. Well, I have this. And my answer is I was at a rally at both the hospitals in Staten Island, fighting for these nurses that are going to be fired because they refuse to succumb to this.
When was that? Was that recently?
Last Monday and Wednesday. And Wednesday was good. Wednesday was a decent turnout. But I told the crowd, I said, there's only one way that's going to change this, and that's masses in the streets. And I don't want to hear you saying, and I get them like, well, I got to work. Some of us have to work. And I say, excuse me.
All have to work.
Excuse me. In 1776, you don't think that the people that fought for where we are right now didn't have a fucking job? They didn't have crops. Yeah, they gave up tons of money worth of crops to be out fighting for their goddamn freedom. So if it's that important to you, take the fucking day off, lose the day's pay, and get out there. And it's tough love, but that's the only way. I can do so much. I get emails and messages every day from hundreds of people. Scott, can you do this rally? Can you start here? Can we fight this? I'm one man.
You're one person.
I taught you how to do it. Now get out in the fucking streets and do it. Otherwise, we're gonna get these mandates are coming. They're here. They're here because we are complacent. We become spoiled because life is good here. How can this happen? How can anything like that happen? Happened in the 40s. What do you mean? The papers. They're asking me for papers. So what? Big deal. And look what happened. Not to compare, the extremes, but yet it's right along that cusp. It's right along that cusp. And I refuse.
It sounds
let me say one more thing.
Okay.
I posted the other day. I said, I got a lot of friends. This is disgusting because it's going to really split. And that's what they want. They want to split friends and family apart. I'm a restaurant guy. I'm a barfly. Okay. I like to eat and drink. I'm not rich, but that's my reward for my work. And I know every restaurant and I go to them, and I'm going to have a problem with some of my good friends because I'm going to walk in and they're going to say, I need to see your papers. And then my response is, I refuse to answer that question on the grounds that it infringes upon my constitutional rights. And if you refuse to serve me, I will happily take my business and my money to an establishment that has not fallen under communist rule. It sucks.
Yeah, especially it seems like you know the people that work at these restaurants. You seem like that kind of guy. You make friends with everybody.
Yeah, it sucks. It really sucks.
Yeah. And then I'll have friends that are like, oh, well, you can do this. You can sneak around it, And it's like, we shouldn't have to be sneaking around this. Like, we should be passionately fighting against it.
Yeah,
It shouldn't
there's no
have to be a
sneaking
thing to
around.
sneak around. Yeah.
I'm not getting a fake card. I'm not going to be that guy. I could make one. I'm an artist. I could draw one up tonight and just show it. I'm not doing that. This is not how it works. And everybody knows me. Everybody knows how I am because I've been fighting this shit for 25 years. And it's just, we let it happen. I hate to say it, but we let it happen. We let it happen. No, everyone's afraid. I don't know. It's.
Do you think the restaurant owners that are just scared? They think I'm going to do whatever I can to keep my business going?
They're in the toughest predicament because they're going to get fined. And they're in the shithole as it is. They're struggling as it is. I know some of them, they don't want to comply, but this is all they have. And I'm not going to, I told everybody, I'm going to put everybody on a list. I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to turn it to them. I'm going to put you on a list that you're a freedom restaurant or that you're a communist restaurant. And I scared a few people, and I'm not going to do that to my friends. I can't do that. But, I know I'm doing a good job of firing people up, and there's a lot of restaurants who are not going to comply. And what's going to happen is that they're going to make enough money, and people will donate, and they'll have GoFundMe pages to pay those fines. And that's what needs to be done. There's people that can't afford to do that. They have 5 tables in a restaurant, but some of these places have 20, 50 tables when they can afford. They have a big following. And, if you know us people in Staten Island, a lot of us are not complying.
Right. Wasn't there that bar that was in Staten Island that was like the first to not comply with the lockdowns? Or
Max Public House? Yes. They reached out to me back a year ago. They were like, we're not doing this. We'd rather close up the business, but we want to go down fighting. We want you to help us, Scott, because you're that guy. So I created the autonomous zone and the signs and everything. And I knew, I told these guys, I said, I'm giving you a couple of days to think about it because you're going to be worldwide. You're going to get heat. You're going to get lawsuits. But if you want to do it, I'm going to help you with it. And that's what happened. And it was a shit show.
How are they doing now?
They're still not open. They beat all of those lawsuits. They won everything. Even when the sheriff jumped on the roof and attacked the guy, that guy was lying. It was all bullshit. But the state liquor authority is still giving them a hard time. But they're proud that they stood the ground, And one guy, Danny Presti, he's still a fighter. He comes to the rallies for the other people, because he turned into that guy. He got that bug, which I love spreading that. Patriotism, it's a virus that you can't get rid of, and it's a virus that you want.
Yeah. I mean, look, and I think people are willing to donate to funds to help. Like, look what happened with Attila's. Like, oh yeah, that's my sweatshirt I'm wearing right now. Attila's in New Jersey. The gym, like, they refused to lock down. They found their way around it. They got sued. I think not sued, but like tons of fines. And they stopped charging. I think even now they still don't charge memberships, but people donate, people buy tons of merch. And I think people appreciate what they're doing. So maybe if they can't be open in their social media, and maybe if they're too scared to be seen at a rally, it's like, I think there is a large amount of people that like will quietly send money to help places keep going that do
You're
take
right.
a stand.
You're right. I think that's what's going to happen. I think, I know the Restaurant Association here in Staten Island, with a group of them, they filed a lawsuit, and since the lawsuit, they are stating that they're not going to comply, and they need to do that as well, as like put on their social media, like, we are going to get fined, and if you want us to fight, you have to help us. And I think that's what's going to happen. It's so sad, and it breaks my heart that we're at this point. I just cannot believe it. I just cannot believe. I mean, I can, because I saw this happening, but I thought people would wake up. you know, and I always say it's nice that I see mothers and, you know, working people out at rallies for the last couple of years. And I'm like, it's nice to see it at the game, but you showed up too late. You showed up too late to the game.
Right. But we're here now. And I agree too. I think, like, you know, any other person, like an addict with a problem or whatever, like, you have to hit your rock bottom to like wake up and be like, whoa, I need to change. I need to change my ways. And I think a lot of people still haven't hit their freedom rock bottom, like whatever that is. Like, life has not become difficult enough for folks to where they'd be like, oh no, I have to take the day off and go to a rally. Just because exactly what you said, life has been very good. Like, this country has made it very good for most people.
Right. And it's like you watch social media and you watch the news and you got two sides of everything. It's turned into that, you know, and it's like, who do you believe? I mean, on social media, it's like, I see crazy shit that comes from our side, which I'm like, stop already. Stop. You're ruining the whole thing.
What pisses you off to see?
I'm sorry?
What pisses you off the most to see from, you know, I guess our side or...
Just the conspiracy stuff, you know, the QAnon over the top and the, you know, the needle, the thing that's injecting a chip in your arm and look, there's a magnet and this and that. And I'm like, just chill out. And again, I cannot emphasize enough. I am not anti-vax. I am that guy. Everybody who knows me knows I am for freedom. That's all it is. All right. Yeah. I love that you're taking the vaccine.
Yeah, do what you want to do.
You
don't
know,
push it on
but
people who don't
there are
need
people on our side that are they're over the top. They're like, the vaccine is killing you, and it's a conspiracy. I'm like, just settle down. Go stay with the effing point here. That's why, because the media loves 90% of the media is anti-us, so they love to pick out. Oh, there's that guy, and that's the story of 1,500 people or 3,000 people fighting for freedom. Nope, that's the guy who's saying, look, they're all conspiracy theorists, and that's what pisses me off. People need to.
It is upsetting because it's like, oh well, our side, the side of freedom, we have to be better. Like, I think people get upset. Like, well, I guess the left can fight dirty, progressives can fight dirty. Like, we just watched them all of last summer protest, burn, loot, and they
4 years. 4 years of burning and looting and destruction, federal property included. Let me emphasize, federal property included, but that wasn't an insurrection. No, that was just people fighting for something they believed in. You know, the violence, the deaths of cops murdered during these riots. They were fighting for something they believed in.
Who's talking about David Dorn anymore? So I can understand how patriots get upset or conservatives get upset. Like, wow, we just I don't know, we can't slip up. We have to be better than them all the time. And it almost seems like being better and taking the high road doesn't pay off. So it's very frustrating for a lot of people.
I haven't said this yet because I've been waiting for a good platform to say it on, and I think you have a good following. So I'll kick it off right here. Let me tell you why we're in this position right now, why this predicament we're in right now with everything that's going on, especially the division that we have, the separation and the fucking hatred, okay? My motto has always been, you know, I hate your politics. I hate your politics, but I will love you to the day you die, like I have for the last 30 years. And the other side, my friends that I knew 30 years just threw me away. Put me on lists, top racists in New York, Scott LoBaido.
Oh my God,
these are my friends that I knew for 30 years, and on and on and on, and on and on and on. And it's not as hurtful as it is insane, you know, because it's me. I'm a conservative. I'm a compassionate conservative, and they hate that. Whether it's the art world or the extreme left, liberal, tolerant liberals. Remember the word liberal? It used to mean, you know, a liberal used to put flowers and rifles and dress up as hippies, and it was peace and love. And it's not. They're not liberals anymore. They've become the fascists, the violent, suppressive, crushing of freedom of speech, sucking the government's ass. You know, it's so insane. So this is what happened. The left went too far left. Now, this happened way before Donald Trump, hence why Donald Trump got elected. We are we're like this. America's a balance with these two parties, and every so many generations, whatever, in the 70s, whatever, the liberals were up here, and then the conservatives in the 80s, and then it went. We go like this, and then we always meet here. We go like here, but the left took the fucking wheel and went so far left, and they fucked middle America, the right per se, the working people, who don't care who you're sleeping with. They don't care if you're sleeping with a two-headed goat. They don't care. But when you try to change their lives, when they're just trying to live all the way, not a little bit, not like I said earlier, we're a little here, we get it, you go there, all the way, you woke the sleeping giant. Talk about woke, okay? Now these people are fired up, okay? And they're not going back. The moral of the story is the only way to fix this, the only way is that the left has to pull back the reins. That is the only way, because if the left pulls back, I guarantee you, the right, who just wants to keep working in the coal mines, in the police department, and they will just want to get back to their normal lives, I guarantee you that they will pull back their reins, and then we could get a little closer to unity. I mean, there's a million other things. We got the big tech and the media, but everybody knows about that they destroy everything. But I'm talking about individuals. The left needs to pull it back. It's the only way to fix it. Only way.
Yeah, and it almost seems like there's no consequence. There's no like social, and I hear what you're saying about like the crazy conspiracy theorists and the QAnon people. It's like I think we do a good job of calling those people out and being like, all right, relax, you know. But again, because it's like it's those people that make the reasonable folks look bad, and I just you don't see that too much on the left, really. Not that I've seen. Like,
No,
all
they're all
right,
superheroes.
stop tipping over statues. Stop like lighting your uncle on fire. I don't know.
It's insane. Who would think that the open-minded liberal community would be tearing down massive, beautiful works of art? Okay, so that's General Lee. Put up a plaque. Spend $20,000 of taxpayers' money for something useful, and put a big plaque that says what this guy did, and learn. That's what it is. That's what art is. That's what you're supposed to do. And it's just tearing down. How I'm watching this. I'm sitting back and I'm just like, yeah. Oh, they take my stuff. They destroy my artwork. They've done it to my work. And peaceful stuff. Excuse me, peaceful sculptures that I put up.
Really? Where?
Yeah, it's.
What of your work has been like destroyed other than the blue line?
You know, I've done thousands of giant American flag murals throughout this country. I have 3 in every single state.
Wow.
A lot of them, and there's so many more. I get hundreds of them here in the New York area, and every once in a while, some punk, not even graffiti. Not like, you know, Jim Jones, Jimmy, just like fascist, you know, this is an oppressive symbol.
Doesn't even make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. But this beautiful story is right in the heart of the whole George Floyd riots and everything. And really quick, you know, because I voted for Trump and because I'm a conservative, I'm automatically a racist to people. But the people that know me know what I've done through charities for everybody. And my mother sent me and my 2 brothers. We come from a white Italian neighborhood in Dongan Hill, Staten Island. And my mother purposely, she was a very liberal woman, beautiful woman. And she purposely sent us to the mostly black school, the toughest junior high school in Staten Island, in a rough neighborhood. And it straightened us out, toughened us up, and made us see other cultures. So I don't have that racist. I don't know how to be racist. You know, my mother brought anybody into the house that needed it and taught me to be that way. And if I was on that bus in 1963, 62, whatever it was, and Rosa Parks got on that bus, and some white dude said for her to get in the back of the bus, I would have slapped the shit out of that guy, and I would have been in jail, and he would have been in the hospital. And that's the truth.
And you would have felt good.
So
yeah,
I put up this sculpture. I made this temporary art installation, and it's 2 black children and 2 white children. And it's like kind of like the Iwo Jima thing. And they're pushing up a ladder. And up on a stick, I had this peace sign painted with the American flag. And it just represented, we can work together to achieve the peace that we used to have. And the liberal art community in my town, Staten Island, lost their minds. They lost their minds. We're burning it. We're taking it down. We're going to destroy it. Now, black folks, a lot of black folks, they like loved it. It was such a great thing. I don't like Scott's politics, but this is meaningful. It was the young, white, creative liberals in my community that lost their mind. This was just a good thing I did
for other people.
And I had to take it down, not because I succumbed to the fear, because I didn't want them to destroy it. Because it wouldn't have hurt me. It would have hurt the black community who saw that it was something positive. So
that's horrible.
I'm used to it.
I'm used to
it. It just proves my point. I love it because it just proves my point that I left this shitty club a long time ago for the right reason. Proves my point.
Yeah. And it's like we've been hearing, it's like so-called minority groups like don't need white people standing up for them. I think it comes from like a deep fear that they are not like diverse or special or interesting enough, like that they have to overly play this hand of like, oh, we have to, the poor black people, they're too dumb to find FedEx or whatever it was.
Exactly what it is.
And it's like, because if you're not that way, I think it comes from a fear that like, well, you'll be kicked out and you'll be irrelevant because then you'll just be like a regular white person. It's like your options are be kicked out or be an insane Marxist.
It's a lack of individual self-respect where you're more interested in getting love from somebody you don't even know than yourself. And that's what I see. It's like, well, let's join this. Well, let's help this. Look, if I see somebody throwing litter out of the car, I'll pull up to them and I'll call them out what they are. Okay. But I'm not trading in my beautiful SUV for a Prius because you're telling me that I'm killing the environment. I'm the environment killer. My mother, everybody brought sick animals to our house.
Right.
I love nature. I love animals. I wouldn't kill anything, but I'm the bad guy because I'm killing. Scott LoBaido, because I drive an SUV, I'm killing the environment. It's all my fault. And these young folks who are lost, they reach for that. I'm not denying global warming, but the way I see it is it's called nature. It was hotter when Jesus was around than it is now.
Right.
It's called fluctuation.
I'm
not saying we're not adding a tad to it, but it's the nature. So it's that, oh, well, if I'm an environmentalist and I'm a tree hugger or this, people are going to like me. Maybe I'll get a date. I
have an identity. I have a group.
I have an identity. Yeah. Oh, I feel for the black community. You don't feel shit for the black community. Only the black community knows what they're going through. We all understand they have a struggle. And I'm not taking one thing away from that. Nothing. Same thing with the gay community.
Yeah, because you respect them. That's like what respect looks like. It's
called, yeah. I get it. But you can't just take over. You can't just take it over. You're not the best. We're all equal. The only people that are special in this whole country are those who are disabled, are elderly, and the men and women of the armed forces are veteran. Nobody else is special. Everybody else is equal. You're equal. I don't owe you a fucking thing. I don't owe you any retribution. I owe you love and respect and a drink and a laugh and a joke. That's it. The whole, I love talking about racism because it's an issue, because everybody's afraid to talk about it. I get a little upset when people say, well, I don't see color.
It's like, come on.
Well, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. I'm an artist. I see color. I want to see color. I want to see that Asian person with the slanty eyes, how different they are. They're from a different culture. You're different. I see that. You're black. Where you from? Somalia? Where you from? Tell me. I want to know. I don't see all one shade. You're Irish. Freckles and red hair. That's beautiful. I see color. We're all afraid.
Everyone sees it. It's like you sounded like an insane person to say like, oh, I don't see any differences. It's like, okay.
That's the beauty of it. That's what makes us great. I travel this country every 5 years by myself, 10 months on the road in my car. I live off the land. I live in people's garages. I eat food from other cultures. That's the beauty. Can I ride into this, please? Let me ride into this. That's the beauty. This is the beauty of America. Why is that flag better than any other flag in the world? Let me explain, people. Because the French flag is beautiful, but it represents the French people. The Russian flag, the Russian people, the Islamic flag, the so on, the Chinese flag. There's only one flag, one work of art, and I call it a work of art. It's the American flag that represents every single one of those people and cultures that I just spoke of. That flag represents every single organic culture from every corner of this planet that come here for that. There's no other place that does that. So yeah, critics, that is the greatest flag in the world. And that's why this is the greatest country in the world. That's it. That's what makes it special. And that's where my calling was, to promote that. Are we perfect? We know we're not perfect. We're only 244 years old. Again, the gay community had to fight for gay rights, the struggle for the black community and the Sicilians. You know, we were treated like shit, but you fight. There's nothing sexier than fighting for something. Incentive. It's so I see these people come here and just gimme, and piss on the flag. Gimme. That's you're an asshole. Come here. You're welcome. You need a hand? We take care of you for a little while. But then you find your dream and you're on your own. But unfortunately, certain political parties say, stay home. Here's your $400 sneakers, your flat screen TV, your cell phone, anything you want. Yeah. But you just stay there.
Don't go get your dreams.
Don't go open up a hot dog stand or become an astronaut. Stay there. And that is where we're at. I'm sorry, I don't shut up.
No, I love your rants. I don't even need to be here. I almost went and got a soda. I'm sure you have feelings because there've been a lot of folks doing videos about this on YouTube talking about this, that the flag has now become this partisan symbol, that it's somehow and it's to these folks that are twisted and confused and lost. Again, these 20 somethings, the flag, when they see the flag, they think of racism, they think of Trump or whatever. And I wonder if it's what you said before, it will maybe take folks on the left or progressives or liberals to maybe more so embrace the flag, in order for some folks to no longer see it as a partisan symbol. How do you see that, ending up, or how do you see that working out?
This is my forte. Look, as I said in the beginning of the show, I have protested hundreds and hundreds of times over the last 25 years, expressing my grievances, whatever they may be. But at every single protest, that flag is held high with me, because that's the only thing that allows me to express my grievances. So when I see these ungrateful, ignorant movie stars, millionaire musicians, Olympians, living the dream under that flag, and then turn their back and disrespect it because you have a grievance, you hold the flag up and express your grievances. What's happening when you are desecrating and disrespecting the flag for your grievances, you're upsetting only one group of people, and that is the Gold Star families and our veterans, okay? Because the other thing is nobody is paying attention to your cause. I have no idea what your cause is, purple hair. No idea. I have no idea. Because
I don't think she knows either.
She lost it by desecrating that flag. That's it. So I'm trying to educate you. I don't believe in what you're fighting for, but I have your back. The sexiest thing about my life is that I have that First Amendment right to express my grievances. And it's because of that flag and the fucking sacrifice and blood that came with it. God, it makes me fucking nuts.
I'm getting turned on. I hope that's okay. You're right. You're like, it's just like, this is how you get respect from people is it's exactly what you said. It's like, you don't walk away from your family. You have a grievance that you express within your family and your blood, and you should probably try to work it out. Same thing with being in this country. It's like, if you really have to, and that's what I can't stand, the people who have such a problem with it, and but then they're too pussy to like leave. Then they won't. The people who've been saying, "Oh, I'm gonna go to another country when Trump is elected," and then they didn't do squat. It's like, well, if you're gonna talk the talk, then go. Like, go. I'm sure. Go to Afghanistan. See how that shakes out. It gets me mad too, because it's so easy to talk shit about the country. It's so easy to be disrespectful. And of course, I'm sure it's a lot of these people who don't even know anybody who served in the military. And
Mhm.
it's just so doubly disrespectful, because it's like they gave everything, and
Mhm.
you're just like, I don't know, maybe lost your job at Starbucks. Like, you'll be all right.
Right.
Just make up with your dad, you know?
Like in France, it's like you have to serve 2 years in military school, and I don't think we need to do that. What I think we need to do in this country is every kid that gets out of high school or is in high school has to spend a year, once a week maybe, and go to volunteer at a veterans hospital,
Ooh,
and that will
yeah.
change. That will change their minds. So I had some girl, young girl, throw something at my truck one day. I almost ran her over. She jumped in the street, threw a bottle at my window. She's been at me for a while, just hates my guts because of who I am.
You have a stalker?
And I was gonna have her arrested. And the family reached out to me and they were pleading with me. And the father's a good person in the community. And I said, here's the deal. I'll have her thrown in jail right now. Or you send her over once a week to the Veterans Hospital over in Brooklyn. That's all I'm asking. And I don't want to hear any. I just want to know that she goes. And that's what happened.
Wow.
So it's stuff like that. Like, again, I'm not a scumbag. What I'm saying, I'm just trying to, maybe she learned, maybe she didn't. But it's, again, I got this thing because I lived the life. I am America. I'm America. And it's because of the men and women who did what I didn't have the balls to do. And they're doing it for me. So I could be this crazy artist. I could create anything I want. I could paint any kind of thing I want. But I dedicated my life to that flag that they love. Okay. And that's my mission, is just to show my appreciation for what I have.
And you know what it is? It's like most people, if they don't know anyone who served, they don't go to a veterans hospital. They don't go to, right. They don't know anybody who served, who came back with PTSD. They have no clue, no concept of it. It's not in their face. They're not seeing it. So it's easy for them to like pretend it doesn't exist. They don't see anybody fighting a war in front of them. They're all overseas. You know what I mean? It's like, so what we do have in our face is the flag. And that's supposed to stand for all that. And I think people just forgot, or I don't know. It's very sad to see, but I do think that what's going on and the activism we're seeing now is like beginning to, because in my lifetime I've never seen such pride and patriot. Like I was always like, okay, yeah, but I've like, I got really fired up in the last couple years, and I mean that's been, I'm only like 37, so I mean I think that should count for something. Like I was very politically like kind of apathetic. I
Very
didn't
much
think.
so. Very much so. Yes, I see a lot of it. I see a lot of it. We're at, I hate to be that guy. I'm always the optimist. Always the optimist. We'll be okay. We'll be okay. But what's just happened in this last week with Afghanistan, we're in for a big shit show. We're really in for a big shit show. I mean, not just America, but the world is in for a big shit show. That can of worms just got opened up really, really bad. And again, I'm an optimist. I think it's going to take a little longer than I expected it to. Internally, I thought I'm optimistic that come 2022, I know a lot of my liberal friends who, Joe Biden, I hate Trump, are going to see that, okay, it's not about that anymore. It's about my safety in my community, my children's schools, my gas prices, $4 a gallon, and so on and so on. And they're going to flip. And we'll get back the House and Senate. I really think that's going to happen. But I'm now just worried. And again, I hate to be that pessimist, not pessimist, but the bearer of bad news. But it's the Taliban, ISIS, Al Qaeda. They're gonna grow. They're gonna grow, and we got a lot of allies, but we have a lot of enemies who are looking forward to this moment to, take advantage of weak leadership, a weak country. And again, the optimist part is that it gets back down to the people, because I know the 1776 fighters are here. And these people on the other side of the world who think they're going to fuck with us because we have a weak government, they need to realize that we do not have a weak people. And
Absolutely.
that, I hope it doesn't come to that, but if it does, we're going to kick some fucking ass.
I agree. Scott, if people are just hearing about you for the first time, maybe they are feeling fired up, maybe they're getting that bug that we all get. Do you know of any more rallies coming up? I know, were they going to keep doing every Monday? I mean, I remember when I was there on August 9th, they're like, we should do this every Monday, and protesting the vax mandates. Do you know if that's still going to be going on, or do you know if there's going to be regular rallies, or where people can find out what's going on?
It's hard because back in the day it was just me, and it's nice to see that now everybody's trying to do it, and this, and you get a handful here and you get a handful there, and so just pay attention, on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, and see what's going on. It's been a while since I held my own really big rally. It's been a year, and it was a big one, but I'm definitely going to do another one. And you can go to my website, scottlobaido.com, check out my work. Excuse me. See exactly what I'm up to, what I do, and you'll know about some new stuff coming up. Thursday, Mayor de Blasio is coming to Staten Island, believe it or not.
Oh, is he?
He's doing this Borough Hall trip around all the cities, so he'll be there Thursday at Borough Hall in Staten Island. So we'll just leave it there.
Interesting.
So yeah, just people, just pay attention,
get active. Yeah.
Put your balls on.
Put your balls on.
Male or female. Put your balls on. Remember what you're fighting for. This is the big picture here. I'm not being that guy.
Yeah,
but
this is the time to do it. I mean, we might not have that many more chances. Really.
Yeah. One more thing, quickly. The most important people in America right now, the most important people in America that could really help save everything is parents. Okay, you don't realize how important you are, because you hold the future. The future is yours. Your children are the future. And what's going on in these schools, between what they're indoctrinating into their heads, we're 25th in the world. The greatest country in America is America. We're 25th in the world in education because of what's going on. You people need to get in those schools. I mean, go in and say, I'm here. What are you teaching? What are you doing? This is not happening. You are not making my kid do this, wear this, take this. You hold the future.
Go to the
it's
meetings.
that simple. The military's doing their job. Us activists are doing our job. There's only so much we can all do. It's on your hands now. Get out there and fight for your children's future, for the future of America.
That's a really good point, Scott. Yeah, and we've been seeing more and more parents get active and showing up at board meetings. But yeah, don't stop.
Get in their face.
Keep it going.
You own that school. You own that school.
A lot of teachers are pussies. Honestly, my sister's one. She's one of the good ones. She's, but she can't do it alone.
There's a lot of good ones. I mean, you got to see the union.
Shout out the unions. Quick super chat from Husey. Not a question how Joe Biden is hated in the UK. Oh, because Husey's from the UK. Not a question how Joe Biden is hated in the UK and Ireland press right now. Even Trump didn't get this 100% hatred. Also, I'm hung. Well, good to know. Wow, so Biden is getting more shit abroad. That's good, as he should. Well, thanks, Husey. Thanks to the super chats. Anybody else here? Quick. And I want to see if anybody had any questions for Scott that I glazed over. No, everyone's just with rapt attention. Somebody talking about my boobs in here. All right. I can ignore the rest of this chat. Scott, you already mentioned where people can follow you. Go to his website. He's got a lot of incredible art for sale.
Instagram and TikTok. That's Scott LoBaido.
And Instagram
Just my name.
and TikTok. That's Scott.
I rant every day.
LoBaido. Check him out. Follow him. Buy his art. And maybe we'll see you guys at a rally someday soon.
Yes.
Taking back the country, baby. Thanks for coming on, Scott.
Thank you for having me and let me rattle on.
Great to talk to you. We'll do this again soon.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.